right.
The history of Jurassic Park. We're gonna start with Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's an unkind thing to say of the dead, but it is perhaps good that Michael Crichton died in 2008 because
Great.
the way he was going, if he was around now, I think he'd have some truly dreadful things to say.
Okay.
So, like, toward the end of his career,
Was he
became
an ableist?
a well-known climate change denier. And his books are full of thoughts like in The Lost World, which I was rereading this week. Ian Malcolm is complaining about how young scientists like care too much about feelings. And he literally says science doesn't care for your feelings. So like you could see where this guy's going. He has like concerns about foreign cultures taking over America.
Overpopulation.
So
he'd be one of those conspiracy theorist guys.
I think so. I think
Flat
he would.
earthers.
He's 6'9". His head's literally in the clouds.
Yeah.
That's a tall motherfucker.
And the other thing is he's 6'9", and Ian
He's
Malcolm.
mad about that.
Ian Malcolm is very obviously his avatar, especially in the book. He's tall. He's dressed in black. He's serially divorced, and he's cool as hell.
Fuck yeah. I so thought I was going to find a plot hole whenever Grant asked him, do you have kids? I was like, you better not say no. I seen your kid. She's a gymnast. You better not say no. And then he's like, yeah. And then they move on. Like, damn it.
Oh, you were going to nail her.
I was going to nail him.
IMDb goofs. He has a daughter. She does gymnastics. But you will see if you read the book, he is like the classic definition of a Mary Sue in fanfic, where the author clearly puts themselves in the book and all the other characters are like, this character's awesome. I love everything they have to say. That is Ian Malcolm in the book. He's like, I'm Michael Crichton. I'm sorry. I'm Ian Malcolm. I'm Malcolm Sue. I have a lot of ideas and everyone's really excited to listen to them.
Sue.
So
you're going to have to shoot me early on in the movie or I'm going to steal the show.
So he published a bunch of novels under pseudonym before publishing The Andromeda Strain in 1969, became a bestseller. And this was also the year he graduated from Harvard Medical School, but he decided to pursue writing instead of being a doctor.
What the fuck?
And then a few years after that, he decided to make a foray into filmmaking. Weirdly, he wrote and directed the movie Westworld.
Stop it.
Has anybody here seen Westworld, the movie Westworld?
Is it just like the show?
No.
Is it the same premise?
It's what the show was based on.
Okay. No, I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, okay. Never seen the OG movie, but love the show.
The movie, I watched it again. I'd seen it before. And like, it's really fun. He's a pretty good director. Might be a better director than he is a novelist. But like the plot beats are very, very similar to Jurassic Park. You go into this exciting theme park and things start to go wrong. And in fact, one of the park employees in Westworld says, "We spared no expense."
He's definitely a theme park guy. I mean, like, I want to know his experiences at Dollywood.
Yeah,
what broke him at Pillsbury Hills, where the fuck is
Disney World or something.
And because Disney World started in '72, so like theme parks weren't everything.
Who
yet.
hurt you, Michael?
Yeah. And then he directed 6 other movies, so it's like he wasn't one and done. He wrote novels and directed movies.
He probably had the biggest dick. I am sick of hearing all this amazing stuff about this man. He needed to die.
So in 1989, he went to meet with Steven Spielberg because Steven Spielberg purchased a screenplay from him based on his days as a medical student. It was set in an emergency room. It was the screenplay that eventually became ER, the show. Michael Crichton also created the show ER. Is he
the George Clooney character?
Probably.
Little bitch. I knew it.
Just making him and Spielberg.
Wow.
Spielberg is an executive producer of ER. They both made probably hundreds of millions of dollars on that show.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so to read a little bit from a book, my source for this is Joseph McBride's biography of Steven Spielberg called Steven Spielberg, a Biography. And it's been very interesting reading this book. This book was written in 1997, and this author likes to psychoanalyze Spielberg, and he says every Spielberg movie is about fatherhood. Spielberg is obsessed with fatherhood. Even Schindler's List is about fatherhood. So that's kind of the through line that I'm getting as I read this book. But here he tells the story of Michael Crichton meeting with him about ER and in 1989, and Spielberg asks, "Well, what else are you up to?" And he says, "I'm working on this novel about dinosaurs. I'm about to publish it." And Spielberg is like, "I like dinosaurs. Could I see it?" So Crichton sends him an advance copy of the novel. Spielberg reads it and he says, "There's going to be a bidding war over this. You're a huge best-selling author. This is, ready-made for a blockbuster movie, but I want to make it. And Crichton's like, I'd love for you to make it. So they have like a handshake deal, but then Crichton's agents say, no, we have to have a proper bidding war. So, quote, the film rights were put up for sale at a non-negotiable asking price of $1.5 million plus a substantial percentage of the gross. Over a 3-day period in May 1990, Crichton weighed matching offers from Warner Brothers for director Tim Burton, Columbia TriStar for Richard Donner, 20th Century Fox for Joe Dante, and Universal for Spielberg. After a day of telephone conversations with all 4 directors, Crichton settled on Spielberg, with Universal throwing in another $500,000 for a screenplay by the author. End quote. So yeah, those were the other directors considered. Crazy. And James Cameron said in 2013 that he also put in a bid, but Steven Spielberg beat him to it. And he said,
James Cameron enough yet.
He said, it's good Spielberg made the movie. He made a better movie than I would have made. I would have just made Aliens again, but with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
very good
I
point.
saw that somewhere. Yeah.
Any of those other directors appeal? Could you see any of those other directors
Joe
directing
Dante.
Jurassic Park? Joe Dante would be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be
not good.
I just wonder how weird the Tim Burton.
The Tim Burton. This thing, woo, just swirling.
A lot more spirally dinosaurs.
Yes, just the tails
Right.
go.
And Johnny Depp would play all of the dinosaurs.
He'd play all.
Yeah.
All right, let's catch up with Spielberg.
Let's catch. Look at his sweet little
Last
face.
week we did the E.T. episode, and we talked about how the opening to his career was like this miracle run to open his career with Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders, and E.T. And after that, there's a stretch of time that, while very successful, is like more difficult. And we're going to start with the 1983 Directors Guild Award banquet, where Steven Spielberg is up for Best Director for E.T., but the award goes to Richard Attenborough, who directed the film Gandhi. And Richard Attenborough wins, and he's surprised because he expected Spielberg to win. And so he gets up and he walks over to Steven Spielberg and he says, "It should have been you, my lad." And Spielberg, they'd never met each other before.
Push. There you go. Okay,
He's like, I like that guy. From then on, they became good friends, leading eventually for him
cool.
to
That's cute.
play John Hammond in his movie.
Oh, I was just kidding with the voice.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't know it was the same guy. Okay. I don't know men. I don't know voices. I don't know names. Okay, good.
But after E.T. in 1982, the next project that he's working on is the Twilight Zone, the movie, which he's producing. And that movie is an anthology movie where there's 4 different segments, each directed by a different director.
Ooh,
and
like Grindhouse.
And on the set of the segment of the movie directed by John Landis, this horrible accident happens with a helicopter that ends up killing one of the actors, Vic Morrow, and 2 of the child actors who were illegally hired.
Oh, yeah.
And Spielberg, though Spielberg wasn't involved with this,
Oh my God.
in the press, people are often grouping him into it because they're like, this is the Steven Spielberg movie. And there are legitimate questions about his capacity as producer. Shouldn't he have known that people on his movie are illegally hiring child actors and doing unsafe stuff? And there's a criminal investigation into John Landis and civil suits and stuff. And it's just kind of this shadow hanging over Spielberg. And he said it was the darkest period of his life. He was sick to his soul. And in that environment, he made his next movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
You could really see the sorrow in that movie.
Well...
Or maybe you can. I don't know.
No. It is a very dark movie. It has the hero Indiana Jones getting possessed by a devil.
Oh, right.
It has a man's heart getting ripped out.
In a fun way.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's actually my favorite.
Really?
Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, I like it
Yes.
for how weird it is.
Good.
I like how much of a swerve it is. But he got a lot of criticism because people expected a kids movie. They expected E.T. or Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it was much darker. But this is
Yeah.
one of the movies that leads to the creation of the PG-13 rating.
So you're welcome,
Yeah.
Trailblaze.
Yeah.
13. Everything's PG-13.
I know. You can't give people a middle of the road. They take the middle every fucking time. Always put the one you want in the
Yep.
middle.
Yeah, because there was this, apparently he told the MPAA, when the choice was between a PG and an R, he said, "I don't make R-rated movies." And they're like, well, okay, yes, then you make PG-rated movies. But it's like the PG-13 rating was invented for him. That's what Jurassic Park is. That's what, Independence Day and every Marvel movie is. So
then The Color Purple. Was that a hit in real time because it's so fucking.
So it was a big commercial hit. The critical reception was mixed. There's controversy over it. A lot of people accused him of just chasing awards and trying to prove I'm a grown-up filmmaker. I don't just make kids stuff.
But it's fun and deep like that. I don't think it seems like Oscar bait. I think it just seems good.
I don't think of it as Oscar bait, but it is like, it's a very...
He discovered Whoopi.
He did. She's so good in that movie.
So good.
That was the movie that improved the most for me when I watched it a few years ago for my...
It's one of my load-bearing beams, and he was... You liked it.
But I was mixed negative on it when we covered it on the show, and then a few years ago watched it, and I liked it a lot more. But I think it's like that thing where... for him, a loss is a movie that makes lots of money and gets lots of Oscar nominations, but isn't universally praised. Yeah. And he's nominated for Best Director.
He's your classic son of a divorced parent. Like, it's not good unless you've pleased both houses. And I relate hardcore to that.
That's true.
I have to be potty mouth fucking hilariously disgusting at my dad's, and then I have to be Baptist as hell over here and like not sleeping with anyone. Like, you got a very different... Can't be bad. Gotta be bad.
I think this is a good point. I think the author of this book would agree with you too.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg's also obsessed with divorce. His parents got divorced. It was the defining event of his life. Divorce is in all of these movies, even Jurassic Park.
Even Jurassic Park.
Yep.
His daughter's getting a divorce.
Yep.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
But even like you can
and Ian Malcolm.
Malcolm Ian, yeah. And I feel like Ellie and Alan are kind of they're on the rocks. I say.
Shut up. They just
I
got
hated
their
that they
dig.
didn't like get together.
I see. I think they're destined not to be together.
What?
It sucks so bad.
We'll talk about that.
But
later.
it seems like they should have been. But yeah, we'll get into it. That's one of the reasons why she hates Jurassic Park 3 so much.
When he shows up at the house and she got a baby and all that stuff, I was like, really?
And it's a misdirect.
You gonna rub that baby in his face?
It is a misdirect because they make it seem at first like it's his kid and that he's married to Laura Dern.
Yep.
But then she's like, "Oh, my
I was
beloved
so
husband's
mad.
pulling up now.
Malcolm Ian.
Give me a kiss, hubby." Okay, Empire of the Sun is his next movie. Like The Color Purple, people are like, you're chasing awards. You want to make a serious movie about World War II and Japanese prison camps and stuff. And he gets stung by the criticism of that. And then his next movie after that is Always, which is...
Fuck is that?
It's one of his worst movies.
Never heard of it.
It is his first like out and out.
I've never heard of it
commercial
either.
bomb. It's Richard Dreyfuss dies and he's the boyfriend
number
of
one.
he's the boyfriend of Holly Hunter, who's 40 years younger than him, and he's like comes back as a ghost, but she can't see him, and he like has to learn to accept that she has a new boyfriend.
Okay,
that's what that movie's about.
So sounds like it's just fucking
Ghost.
No, Castaway.
Okay, yeah. It's Castaway, but with ghosts and
That
airplanes.
was so crazy.
And then
I didn't do that.
and then
I'm such a romantic.
you might like it. It's see, and he was trying. It's literally a remake of a movie from the 40s, and he's kind of trying to just play it with 40s straightforward romantic energy, but it being a movie from the 80s is just awkward.
Shoulder pads.
Like you calibrate your expectations if you're watching a movie from the 40s and people are like calling each other, "Hey, doll," and stuff like that. But here it's just weird. So he makes Hook,
which is a fucking classic.
that we covered as our second episode of the show.
This is how load bearing beams work. I go back to my default position, which is that this movie slaps. But in actuality, it's kind of fucking
When we
boring.
watched it for the episode, Lacey was miserable. On the episode, Lacey says this movie sucks. It's so boring.
I love it though.
What's the guy with the red hair?
Roofie. Oh,
Roofie. I used to love him.
Yeah.
I know.
I was like, ooh, he was fine.
They have moose on that island.
But this movie,
Right.
this movie goes super over budget. The production kind of spirals out of control. Spielberg cites it as one of the movies that got away from him. It makes money, but it's like not enough of a hit to justify the giant expectations. So basically, you have this stretch of his career where like, he's doing well, but like could be doing better. He's also producing movies like Back to the Future and Gremlins and Poltergeist. He's getting his animation wing off the ground. He's producing Tiny Toons. Like he's like giving script notes on Tiny Toons episodes. He's stretched very thin. And it seems like the boss at Universal had a heart-to-heart with him. Like, you need to like get your shit together. Stop saying yes to everything.
Right. God, I'm relating to him hard. Okay.
And
Ouch.
you need to bring your movies in on time and on budget. And I know that for years you've wanted to make your passion project Schindler's List. You can make Schindler's List. I will pay for Schindler's List. But first you got to make Jurassic Park. So that's why he makes Jurassic Park, because it will allow him to do Schindler's List. And he makes these movies literally back to back. He leaves Jurassic Park to make Schindler's List.
I mean, he was right to do it.
Wow.
You needed another upbeat, and like you needed another thing to make it feel like old time Spielberg.
Well, but he did Schindler's List after Jurassic.
I know, but you see that in a row, and you're thinking, okay, Oscar bait again. Like he's just trying to,
I gotcha.
You needed to go like blockbuster, and then now let's go Schindler's
But it
List.
was the movie that finally, like reading this book, I forgot that like for so long the criticism of Spielberg was he's for kids, he's not a serious filmmaker. But that's like all anybody said about serious. But that's what they said about Hitchcock and.
Then when he tries
Howard
to get
Hawks.
serious, everybody's mean to him.
Yeah.
Pick a lane.
Yep.
You can't make people happy.
This movie's too good.
Okay, so he's gonna make Jurassic Park, but how to make the dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs.
He wants to use a mixture of animatronics and stop motion, and he will augment the stop motion with his newfangled technology known as CGI. So he hired Stan Winston, the best in the biz, to make the animatronics. He storyboarded the movie from the start. Every action scene was pre-visualized, and he hired Phil Tippett, the legendary stop motion animator, to do the dinosaurs when they're in motion. And
is that really stop motion?
Excuse me. You can see online, you can watch Phil Tippett's stop motion dinosaurs. They're really fascinating, but you can see that it just wouldn't play the same in the movie. And as they're working on it, Industrial Light and Magic says, we can fully animate these dinosaurs. And Spielberg says, let me take a look at it.
ILM.
He and Phil Tippett sit down and watch ILM's reel of their CGI dinosaurs. And Spielberg is like, this is amazing. I can't believe you can do this. And Phil Tippett reportedly said,
he was like the Jeep scene. They made it.
Well, no, what he said is, I'm extinct. Because what he did was make physical stop motion puppets.
You don't got to step on my fucking joke.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
But like now an entire old way of doing things in filmmaking is gone and replaced by a new thing. And that's why Ian Malcolm in the movie says that line, don't you mean extinct, to Alan Grant. Storyline is playing out in the movie.
Got it.
Yes. Okay, this movie was an all-time blockbuster. It surpassed E.T., Spielberg's own movie, to become the highest-grossing movie of all time. It was also an international hit. It sort of paved the way for Hollywood to orient the business around global blockbusters. Spielberg apparently made $250 million off of this movie from his share of the profits. And it was a merchandising phenomenon. Kids love dinosaurs, but the problem with dinosaur toys is they're public domain. But slap a Jurassic Park sticker on a dinosaur, now we get a cut.
Changes the game.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the history of Jurassic Park. And we shall now move on to discuss.
If you had a count on these slides and I knew how close we're getting to the end, I'd be a little more patient.
You just got to trust me.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I've gotten us this far.
Have you?